Anyone who likes knives like I do should own at least one Opinel knife, one of the most iconic European knives, along with this Swiss Army knife. Having said that, it's obvious that the pros outweigh the cons of this knife. This is actually the number 9 Opinel, it says here. Number 9 because it has a 9 centimeter length of blade. Let's see this here. It's almost 9 centimeters. I don't know if you can see that. It comes in this box, very simple box, Opinel from France. It's made in France, has the same design since 1890, it says here. It's made out of recyclable materials. So let's check out the knife. It's the carbon version. It's made out of, it has a wooden handle, and it has a ring here which also uses as a locking mechanism. The original Opinels that were made in 1890 didn't have the locking mechanism, so it was just this blade here, and it was just standing here without the locking mechanism. I think it was the locking mechanism was introduced in the 50s, maybe so. Anyway, let's check out the pros and cons of this knife. First of all, we have the carbon blade. I bought the carbon blade because it is super sharp. I mean, it cuts like a razor. Let's do the test with the paper. I don't know if you can see that here. It cuts quite, not that good as I expected, but I tell you, it's very sharp and a lot sharper than the inox blade. It also comes with inox blade. Secondly, one of the pros of this knife is how light it is, how little it weighs. And let's check out how much it weighs. It says here 0. And it says 56 grams, only 56 grams. It's a very lightweight knife, although it is quite big. You can see here in my hand. It weighs 56 grams. Third advantage I find with this knife is the vintage look it has. As I said in the beginning, it's a design that was originally made in the 1890s. It's a very old knife, but a very simple knife. It has a vintage look. And the fourth advantage I found in this knife, it's the price. It's only around $10, 10 euros. And this is one of the big knives, the number 9. You can find the smaller ones if you like them. That costs less than 10 euros, 6, 7 euros, the smaller knives of this range. Now let's go to the pros, to the cons. One of the cons is the blade itself. I mean, it also is a advantage, but it's also a disadvantage, the fact that it's made out of carbon steel, which means that this will eventually rust sometime. However, I still prefer the carbon steel because I like the look that the knife will have after some years. Then the other disadvantage, which I found as an advantage, of course, it's the handle. The handle is quite thick. I don't know, let's see how thick it is. It's probably 1.5 centimeter. And that's, we're going to do a test now. You're going to see that for everyday carry, this knife, because in most countries knife carrying is not legal, will probably give you some problems. Let's check out what I mean. So I'm standing in front of my door. I'm wearing a jeans that's not a very tight fit, as you can see here. And I have the Opinel knife. And yes, you can see it's quite thick and big for everyday carry. I'm going to put it in my pocket. And you can see that although it's not a very tight jeans, it points out that I'm having something where I'm very happy, if you know what I mean. I have either big marker or something big extending out of here, so I would not probably use it for everyday carry. Instead, I use this knife, which I have reviewed in another YouTube video, the Gerber Scout, which is very thin. I can put it in my pocket, and you barely notice even if I do my leg like this. You barely notice that something is in my leg. Last but not least, one of the disadvantages I found with this knife, it's slow deployment. If for any reason you need to deploy this knife, you have to most likely use both hands. You cannot do it with one hand. You have to pull this ring here. We'll talk about the ring a bit later on. Pull the knife with two hands, lock the ring. So will take you probably a second, 2-3 seconds to fully deploy this knife. It's not a knife, let's see, this cheap knife here from Tramontina, where you can operate it with one hand, maybe even faster. Do it here. As you see, it's not a tactical looking knife like this one, which I'm going to review later on, which looks a bit threatening. This doesn't look a bit threatening, but as I showed you before, the fact that it has some size to it probably is not a good idea to carry it in your pocket, but carry it in some bag so that everyone else does not see this knife. However, having said all that, I still believe that it's a good buy. It's something good for everyone's collection. It's a good utility knife if you go for a camping trip or something like that. Anyway, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.